exclusive breaking news.
My name is Theresa Moses, and today we have one of the finest and the first to reckon with when it comes to film producing in Nollywood. We all know Nollywood, Nigerian film industry, popularly called Nollywood, is the second largest film producer globally, and we have international award-winning film producer, actor, and director. He is going to be the one to answer so many questions as regards filmmaking in Nigeria. What are the challenges when it comes to movie production, editing, everything you need to know. He's still going to talk about how Nollywood has contributed to the GDP of Nigeria. So many of us just sit down and just watch the creativity that is being displayed on the screen within the 1 hour 45 minutes, but there's a whole lot of things that is being put in place to give you that which you watch, and a whole lot of things, a whole lot of money, a whole lot of finances, a whole lot of it is put into place, and above all, creativity. So we have, like I said, an international award-winning film director, and he's no other person but Aquila Njamah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Theresa. It's good to be here.
Yes, I've heard a whole lot about you, and you've contributed so much to the movie industry as far as Nigeria is concerned, with over decades of experience and creativity. So it's an honor to have you on this exclusive interview with Gatmatch TV. We really appreciate that.
The honor is mine.
Without so much ado, I want to go straight to the first question, which is, how do you earn a living and sustain a career doing what you love doing in Nigeria?
I think I'll answer that question on a personal note, so I don't get to speak for other people. I've always, as a child, believed that I was going to grow up, into a profession where I have a passion for whatever I'm doing. So passion is, for me, is passion driven first and foremost. I've always seen myself as someone that likes to create through telling stories, writing stories, and making those stories come to life through movies, documentaries, and it's like so. Earning a living doing what I'm doing is not just a matter of survival, but it's also fun. It's also interesting. It's an interesting aspect of my life that I'm working to its fulfillment. The entertainment industry is no different from any other industry with challenges. We have our ups and downs. We've always been striving to develop the industry, to meet up with our international counterparts. It's not like filmmaking originated from Africa, from Nigeria. I would like to say it's a borrowed culture, but it's also a medium where we can, express ourselves, tell our own stories. Filmmaking goes beyond just feature movies. We also talk about documentaries, television programs, and all that. So it's a medium for expression, for one to express themselves. So our challenges are, of course, naturally, one would say finances. One would say the need to, like I said, it's not our culture. The need to open or expand the schools we have and take, the profession more seriously. I'm talking about the government coming in right now. We already have some private institutions that are supporting, but the business is growing bigger. It's growing bigger by the day, and it's bringing in revenue already, and the government can see that it's bringing in revenue. So I think it would be wise for them to support the industry by creating an atmosphere where people can take the profession a little more serious. People go to school. We have the National Film Institute, but that's just in Jos. We need to have it in like the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, and so like I said, to take it a little more seriously, and have multinationals come in to fund already as it is, the world is looking at us. You rightfully said the second largest, yes. So if our government can tap into that and say, oh wow, our people are doing this good, we have been recognized internationally, globally as the second largest movie industry. So what are they waiting for? They should swing into action and do the needful. I think if I remember clearly, during President Goodluck Jonathan's regime, he brought out grants to support the industry. Nolly Fund. That was laudable. So it's an industry that has created job opportunities in thousands of ways for people, from distributors to retailers to people printing jackets. Now we're talking about cinemas. We have staff working in cinema houses. We have people selling tickets. So when you have a venture like that, a serious government will take it seriously and do something about it to support it, to cut down on tariffs, to just to encourage filmmakers. It's difficult for people to go out there and outsource for money and do movies. Now you want to give loans to filmmaker. You're talking about from 23 to 28% interest rate. Who does that? How is the person supposed to shoot a movie and get returns after you'll have to pay your distributors, pay for virtually everything, actors and everything, and pay for publicity? Then you have to start servicing your loans. So we should have a certain kind of loan that the government can give out, and maybe a 1-digit percent rate interest to be paid. What I'm just trying to say in essence is they should take it a little more serious. They should go into it and help the industry grow, knowing that the industry is a major source of revenue for the nation as a whole. It's not just a potential gold mine. It's proven itself over time to be an untapped gold mine. The gold mine is there. People are seeing it. Now, what I'm afraid is going to happen in the nearest future is that, of course, as it has always happened in our country, we don't support our own until the foreigners come in and start tapping, and that's about to happen right now. I was in a conference meeting recently, devoid of me mentioning any names though, but these guys are coming in. They are coming in already because it's untapped. They have a way of seeing these things before we do. So they are coming in, and when they come in, they will take over. It's happened in other industries where we have the Lebanese coming into our countries. We have the Chinese people coming in. They come in and they take over. We start depending on them, but we have what it takes to propel this industry. To add to our internal generated revenue of the country. But the government will always sit and wait for a miracle to happen, or they can sustain it themselves, or let the foreign investors come in, and it's bad. As a filmmaker, I speak for myself and a couple of my colleagues. We have strived to do things that we do by ourselves. You outsource for money to do your own movie. You promote your movie. You then think of marketing your movie outside the country. When we have what stops the government from having government-owned cinema houses and slash ticket rates for people? We'll talk about some people not being able to go to the cinemas in rural areas, and that's a project I'm trying to put together. How we can take this movie down to the people there. Of course, they can't pay 2,000 naira. They can't pay 2,500, 3,000 naira to just go see a movie. So what stops the government from having what we call like guerrilla cinemas? It's still revenue generated for content providers. If I know my movie is going to be exhibited nationwide in major cinema houses, and I also know I stand a chance from benefiting, no matter how little it is, from the rural areas, which of course we know in terms of numbers there are more. So those are the areas we expect them to come into. Go to a place where you can actually show your movie for 300 naira, 200 naira per head. Just to help the people and to expand the business. So I think like you said, it's an existing gold mine that is visible. You can see it, but some people are having their eyes wide shut, to realizing that it's out there and having the need to do something about it.
Nollywood has contributed to, if not, I don't want to exaggerate, but as of 2016, it has contributed 2.3% to the GDP of Nigeria. Are we going to say that it's more or less like it's political? That's why the government has not invested or looked into anything to do like that?
If you say it's political, I'll probably sail with that, because I believe some certain people in some certain positions are trying not to tell the truth, so they have a reason not to want to, in question, look towards that direction and do the needful and invest. It's more than that. We're looking about almost 5 point something percent. Take for instance, if it wasn't doing that good, are we going to have people still investing in opening cinema houses? Going by the statistics we have on ground, of course, it's far more than that. Also, knowing that we don't really have an accurate database to check this, but from the little that we have gathered, we have seen that it is well over 2 points, whatever percent, 3 points, it's well over that.
What project are you working on?
Right now we're grading, and we're doing that in Italy. It's a movie called Cold Steel. I commenced that movie like 3 years ago, but no thanks to COVID-19, we ought to have hit the cinemas with the movies, but right now, because of social distancing thing, we've kept it in the cooler and working on something else, which I wouldn't like to let out of the bag in terms of giving out the title yet. But right now we're having a script conference over a new movie. I'm about to film. I think the best information I can give is that I'm not filming in Lagos. I'll be filming in Jos. Like I just said, for my movie to still be in the cooler, it's COVID. So it has affected us in different ways, negatively and positively. The negative aspect of it is that a huge sector of the entertainment industry, film-wise, is on hold. Social distancing, there are a lot of restrictions right now. You can't allow people go to the cinemas. Of course, if people can't go to church, then why would you allow people go to cinemas? So that aspect is sleeping for now, so to speak. But it has also opened other avenues. Like during the lockdown, a lot of people were hooking up, online to request for video on demand, and that has opened that aspect of the industry, which we are hoping that the distributors, so to speak, will take advantage of that and also increase the wages of content providers. I see them as taking advantage of that, but they're not giving back in return. If everybody is on hold, and for instance, I get frustrated and I say, okay, you know what, I can't wait for the cinemas to open anymore. Let me have my movie on a hub, maybe Netflix, maybe Viva, be that as it may. It's like shooting myself in the leg. It's just a chance I'm willing to take. We don't know when the what's it called, the COVID pandemic crisis, so to say, will ease off in Nigeria, but it has made us realize that there are other ways we can survive other than the regular way, so it has opened our eyes to a couple of things we've not seen in the past years, and at the same time it just goes to show that we need to suffer a little bit and sacrifice a little bit for things to get better. So I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, the positive light at the end of the tunnel for things to come back and be better. It might take time, but it will come back, and it would have broadened our kaleidoscope of business, how we perceive things business-wise. Even our creative intuition will be reawoken to a new dawn. We need to start thinking differently. We need to start thinking, what if this is going to happen again? What if something close to this is going to happen again? How do we face it? How do we survive it? So I think it has its ups and downs. It has its positive aspect and negative aspect. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to sail through.
What exactly is ahead of the movie?
That's a very tough one to answer right now, because there's a whole lot of uncertainty right now. given the pandemic, there's a whole lot of uncertainty. We don't have a platform where it's not like we don't have a platform, but it's difficult to be in that platform and be constructive at this particular point in time because we don't know where things are headed. We can only say anything for certain after the pandemic. Right now, we don't know if we are going to the world of the vaccine. Hey, we don't want to accept your vaccine. We want your vaccine. We don't, So there are a lot of other things that are actually taking our minds away from reality of where we are. There's a lot of restrictions right now, and until we get out of this period, this era, then we can say for certain what the future will hold. But right now, it's just for us to be hopeful and strive to survive, and keep being creative. We have more materials right now. I'm sure after the pandemic, a lot of writers are going to have enough things to write about. So life is a continuous process, and filmmaking is no different from that. We just need to continue until we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
What is that thing you do on a daily basis that you essential to your career?
I eat. Of course not. Well, basically, to my career is I endeavor very, very much so to be constructive in everything I do. I take life very seriously because as a filmmaker, as a creative person, your environment is part of what you do. Every day of your life is what you do. Like I just said, I'm involved in a script conference. I had to insist that we had that script conference, and it's helping us develop the story. So keeping fit and endeavor to be very vast in every aspect of every sphere of life, and constructive. Be constructive in the way you perceive life, the way you judge things and character. So I try to be as original as I can every day in every aspect of my life, to add that quality to my work as a filmmaker. So that's how I survive every day, and I attribute it to my work to make that difference.
If you aren't a filmmaker, what would you have been?
Growing up, my folks wanted me to study law. I used to win arguments a lot, as a kid, and very argumentative. I was very inquisitive, so I don't know. But growing up, I don't think that's what I would have wanted for myself. To be a lawyer, to be an attorney, but I guess that was a child's fantasy, influenced by my parents, though. So I don't know. Maybe I'd have been a professional chef or something. I don't know. But I know it would have been something that had to do with with creativity. Yeah, I would say, when I got to that aspect of in secondary school where you need to decide where you're going to. Do you want to be in the science? Do you want to be arts or martial art? I remember this very vividly, and it's as clear as it happened just some hours ago. I walked into the science class. There were a whole lot of nerds there. Funny looking people, quiet, and I just didn't fit in. I didn't fit in, and because we had a week to decide, they gave us like that stretch, 1 week stretch, and I went to the commercial class. I still just didn't see myself fitting in. But when I walked into the arts class, just some few meters away from the door, I felt at home, and I just had that smile, like a grin from chin to chin, and I was like, this is home. So I think that was a life-changing experience for me, that moment. So it was then I started deciphering what aspect of the arts I wanted to major in. So that aspect changed my life. So it wasn't like okay, growing up as a child. Of course, I've always loved the movies. I've always loved watching movies, and I started up as a child actor late in the 80s, 1987. You know, so it was like I never thought, I didn't know at that time that I was going to take it like a profession. But it's something that has always been in me, always been inside of me. So I believed, I just followed my instincts, you know. Eventually studied dramatic arts. I've had a couple of international conferences, international training, you know, out of the country. It was basically art inclined to movie making, and that's how it's been for me. That's how my story has been till date, basically. The turning point in my career, I think it will be more of remuneration, you know, being appreciated for doing something good. I think that was my first international award was 2007, 2007, for a movie I shot, The Rivals, you know. It was in New York Initiative, Independent Film Festival, 2007. It was okay for me to just get a review of my work in the New York Times, like a full page review, you know. That was just basically okay, knowing that for the first time in Africa, these people they're accepting an African movie, and it was my film. You know, that just showed me that there's so much more we can do. You know, it was history, and it wasn't just a nomination. I went ahead to win Best Drama Director of the year 2007. So for me at that point, it was like, wow, you know, as at that time I hadn't won any local awards, and my first award was actually coming from the United States. So it just made me realize that now, okay, guess what, you are in the spotlight now of the world, so people are expecting, you know, the tide for you to grow even higher. And that was what I would say was the turning point in my life, because after that time I just decided, like, you know, I needed to up my game. If you notice, right from time, if you go through all my movies, you never see me do anything that they call in quote epic, all those epic that they use rice sack to sew clothes and all that. I never, as young as I was as a filmmaker, I got 1,001 scripts, you know, but I turned all of them down, because I believed that if we have to tell our story, we should tell it as original as possible. You know, we have researchers research. We never used to dress like that. We never used to wear such tattoos. You know, we never used to, you know, do what's it called, graffitis on our walls. We actually wore clothes. We wore clothes even before the white man came. We wore clothes. They may not be as fancy as the ones we wear now, but we did wear clothes. We never dressed with raffia and all those kind of things like what you depict Adam and Eve do, you know. So it was a turning point in my life. I realized that okay, I needed to, you know, do better than what I was doing, and my journey has just been like that. I've always tried to be as disciplined as possible to my saying no to some certain things. If it's not right, it's not right. You know, I'm not in a hurry to just do any movie. I'm not in a hurry to have 1,000 movies to my credit. I'd rather have just 50, and the 50 movies we're talking about are impactful, you know, to the creative world. The reason why they call it a director's movie, you know, an Aquila Njamah film, you know, a Kunle Afolayan film, a Quentin Tarantino film, is because it actually takes a director to do a great movie. The director is the demigod of the movie. He breathes life into the script. So, okay, let me cite a small example here now. This movie, Boys in the Hood by John Singleton, was shot 1991, and the budget was $6,000. No, $6 million. Sorry, it was $6 million. Was it $6 million? Terminator 2 was shot at about that same time with hundreds of millions of dollars. Now they grossed virtually the same amount at the box office. So it's not necessarily about your budget. It's not necessarily about your budget. I can have a small budget movie and you have a large budget movie, but my creative intuition in my approach matters. While you spend all the millions doing special effects and I'm just telling a story, a drama story, what are the content? What's the content of your script and how do you bring it to life? So all those things, because Boys in the Hood was a regular Brooklyn story, like, the drugs on the streets, the killings. It had a message. It's either you're doing a movie to entertain people, to educate people, or to inform people. So whatever aspect you take, it takes the director to actually assimilate the context of the script into a feature movie. He breathes life, like I say, into it. How does he? Desperado, the budget was so low, they couldn't afford to rent tracks. The DP actually was placed on a wheelchair. That's creativity, and the pictures came out well. But you can have a movie that they have a track like from here to West Africa, end of West Africa, and it still won't come out right. So I think, to answer your question in a nutshell, is that it's basically having the right set of people, a director especially, and a fantastic crew that understands how to work with budgets and time to be very creative. They will come out with something better. That's how you tell a good story from the eyes of a good director, good cinematographer. Not necessarily the budget, depending on what they say. How do we say it here? They say better soup na money kill 'em. I am not of that school of thought.
As a budding film director, what are your advice to them?
I understand how difficult it is for these young lads to get a breakthrough these days, which is one of the reasons I fought against, in quote, what we as a guild wanted to do some years back, by having internship, like apprentices coming under you for such a long time. I said no, it wasn't fair. We could have some of these guys that are more talented than us, more creative than us, but they don't have the platform, to showcase themselves, or to like an umbrella. So my advice for them is, of course, it's good to be a member of a guild. It's good for them to be part of the guild, because the guild protects you. We also run an insurance scheme that will take care of you in case of any, you know what I mean. But it's not necessary, like I said, it's not necessary. It's good, but not necessary, not mandatory. Some people might say, I want to be a freelancer, I just want to be by myself. Yes, but you stand a chance of losing out on some certain packages, like when the guild is being invited, you're not a member, so you can't be there. When the government want to have something to do with us, sorry, you're a freelancer, you can't be part of this. You can go and pitch your movie. You can pitch your movie independently, for a loan scheme or whatever. But it's always advisable that you're a member of a body. It gives you a leverage. It gives you a platform to operate, on. And so my advice for them is try to join the guild. Study, read books, read books. The industry, even filmmaking, is evolving. It evolves every day, which is why sometimes you just find out that for those that are not ready to make what I call a switch, and ready to flow with time, you see them as obsolete. It still shows in their works. Shots change. Shot description have changed now. Back in the days, it was more like a taboo for your pictures to be shaken. These days we have mobile pictures, shoulder, held cam shots. So things are changing. So you need to change with time. And how do you do that? Update yourself as a filmmaker. Update yourself. Watch movies. Watch a whole lot of movies. Have mentors. Have people like growing up. as a filmmaker, I had mentors like Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Spielberg, Antoine Fuqua. So watch their movies, broaden your ideas, and never be afraid to take risks. The most successful filmmakers on the surface of this earth are people that have ventured and dared to take risks. It might just make you, or it's just a chance you take. But guess what? Risk. All the biggest millionaires we have in the world are risk. They were once risk takers. So what's the essence? Not striving to take a risk that just might turn your whole life around. Take risks. Take risks. Be very daring. And I think the sky is just the starting point.
Back to the cake Cabals in Nigeria that is affecting industry. What do you have to say about that?
It is something that I tried not to. I am one person. I'm a one-man squad. I don't believe in. I don't believe in cabals, and yes, of course, if whoever said that to you may not be far from the truth, but I tried not to get involved. When I make an appearance, I make an appearance. Once I'm done, I'm done. What matters to me is what I do and how it gets to the people out there, the final consumers. So I don't want to play politics with my career. I don't want to. I have to choose some certain people over some certain people. I'm a friend to all. I'm a colleague to all. So I endeavor not to mingle in cabals, cliques, politics, and all that. If I want to vote the president of my guild, I go there, cast my vote, and I'm out. How that is affecting the industry negatively, it's I would say it's when you have a cabal and or a clique, so to speak, and we have government funding, it's easier for your clique to come together and say, this money don't come, well, let's split it between ourselves. That way it won't get to the right filmmakers, people that can actually justify that fund. It just goes to a group of people that sometimes they don't, in the past 10 years or 10 years after, they've not even shot a movie. We can have fantastic filmmakers that are not part of our guild. They are good at what they do, but they are probably not interested in being part of the guild because of the politics they see happening inside the guild. So the government should when we have private investors, or we have people coming in, international grants coming in, it should meet for all. It shouldn't be, don't streamline it to only guild members. So other people can actually pitch, and it goes round, and everybody's happy. So I think in that way, that's how I think it affects the industry negatively. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of untold stories, and our international counterparts have seen this. They've told every story that they need to tell about themselves over there. I mean, they've shot sci-fi movies like in space. They've told all the space stories. They've told fiction. They've done horrors. They've done about American history. They've told about emancipation. Come on, they've exhausted. But now they want to come here. But we're not even done telling our own stories. Which is why I'm saying we need to start telling our own stories before they come and start telling our stories for us. Our government needs to make collaborative efforts easier for these people to come. The last time I remember they were about filming Critical Assignment. The policies that are on ground was difficult. Yes, I understand if you say you must have 15% of your crew must be Nigerian. Good, that's you creating jobs. But the envelope, when did they ask for too much now? You need to settle this, you need to pay here, pay there. It's going to scare them away. So what did they do with, is it The Rising Sun, the one with Bruce Willis? Our policies were too tight for them. They sent a researcher here to research Pidgin English, and they went to shoot the movie, was it in Kenya or somewhere else, pretending to be in, Nigeria. So when you make tight policies for these people, and you make it too expensive for them to come in, you're not encouraging the industry, because it's about time we start doing collaborative efforts with our foreign counterparts. But even at that, we by ourselves, for ourselves, can still tell our own story. We have over 300 and something tribes, ethnic groups, languages here. We've not started. Who have we finished telling the stories of Queen Amina? We've not. Usmadan Fodio. Even stories like Obasanjo IBB, recent, they're not too far away from us, are stories that we can tell. But that would sound like me going political. We have a lot of legendary stories. Ame Oboni, Ovaroen Ogbaisi. We have legendary stories to talk about. They're about women riots, So it's about time we look inwards. We look inwards and say, you know what, guys, we can do this. Nothing stops us from doing internal collaborative efforts. My company Imgel can say, okay, I want to work with Royal Arts Academy. I want to do something in collaboration with Gaboski Films. We can come 2-3 of us, bring resources together, But these days everybody seems to let me just do by myself and make all the profit by myself. When you do collaborations, you tend to be more creative. You are bringing experts from different angles of the entertainment industry to do something, and you share the risks, you share the profits. You can see TriStar Pictures or Columbia Pictures, for instance, or Universal Pictures. You will see Universal, TriStar, DreamWorks, Jerry Bruckheimer, 4 or 5 or 6 of them, one project. Now what that means is that Universal can actually be in 10 to 15 different productions at the same time. Now they're going to make profits from all this, but in a case where one somehow flops, does not meet up with requirements in terms of financial returns, you have something else to fall back on. So it's about time we start thinking in that light, thinking as not just filmmakers but as business minded people, and not shooting ourselves in the leg by saying somebody will just come take 2 million, go and shoot a film, and just because you want to make 100,000 out of it. It's sad for me to say, but most of what we have on our screens right now that people watch, it's hard for me to say that they are high. They are all of high. Most of them are of high level of substandard. They are far below what we can do, our capacity, as filmmakers to do, and that's just because we are settling for less. The strive, the quest to survive is there. There's hunger in the land. Somebody just wants to feed and say, "Don't give me that money, I will do it." So we need to really change our mentality. We need to. For years, I didn't shoot a movie. It's for me, at that point in time, it was me protesting against the system. So much so I veered into politics, and I had protested. I had done several interviews on how, but it's not a collective thing, it's an individual thing. So no matter how hard you try to protest, no matter what you say, there's some people that they will never listen to you. They just keep doing what they're doing. So I challenged myself to say, okay, you know what, I think I'm going to take my stakes a little higher. I'm going to do something different, because I believe in putting your money where your mouth is, or your mouth where your money is, as the case may be. So me saying I'm not settling for less, I would rather not take that script or take that money just because I need to survive. I would rather do one movie that can actually feed me for over 10 years. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Do one good movie that can take care of you for as long as it can, than do hand to mouth kind of project. First you diminish your name, it brings recommendation. The industry is basically all about recommendation. They see your works, and someone in Hollywood wants to do a collaboration with you. Why? Because of what the person has seen. Why? Because somebody said, have you seen this movie? Go and see this movie. The movie is crazy. Who did the movie? That's it. That's how you survive. But you be in a situation where you are churning out movies every now and then, and you are going nowhere. But yet you are seeing that 100,000 naira, and at the end of the year, what have you done with 100,000 naira? You are still back to square one. But what have you done with your works? You have sold us out to the world that we are horrible filmmakers. So we need to up our games. We need to collectively come together and find a way to have these people taking advantage of the industry. I don't want to mention names, but you can't say you're giving people 3 million to do a movie just because you want content on your. It's affecting the industry. It's affecting the industry, and you're bringing this thing out to the world. Now they've known us as room and parlor filmmakers. That's not a movie. That's not a movie. Yeah, we may not be able to start to do the train stunt scenes, but who says we can't start it? We're in a generation where we can actually use CGI, computerly generated images right now, green screen. We can do some of those things. But people just being afraid to, like I said earlier, I said, don't be afraid to take risks. I commended my friend and my brother Jetta Amata years ago when he did the movie, I think Alien Invasion or something like that. He used albinos as the aliens. To me, that was creative. A lot of people laughed about it, but that was creative. It's easy for you to laugh, but what have you done? Have you attempted that? You've not attempted it, but Jetta Amata did it. As young as he was then, he was already thinking futuristically. So that's what we need to do. Other than say, no, we can't do action movies. We are not ripe enough to do action movies. Who says who? Who says we cannot? We can't use strings. Who's? Anyway, basically, I think we need to change our mindset. We need to start thinking positively, rather than hiding under our shells and saying we can't. I'm sick and tired of we can't. There's a whole lot of we can, and this can only happen, like I said, if we go out there and start taking the necessary risk we need to take, like Hollywood have taken in the past to be where they are. We should do likewise and do even more.
Wow, it's an amazing section here with the international award winner Aquila Njamah. It's so educating and entertaining at the same time. We have the creativity, we have the talent, we have the cast, we have everything in our disposal to top #1 in the world. But one thing that is limiting us is our creativity. We are saying we can't. So it is the right time to say we can. And when we say we can, we take the right step to do it. We have what it takes to compete with the world. If the world are afraid of us, we have what it takes to compete with them. That is why they're afraid of us. So it's beyond no, we can't do it. Wow, it's so amazing, and I can't say anything more but to say a very big thank you for this amazing producer, award-winning director. It's amazing. I appreciate. God bless you so much.
Namaste.
Gatmash TV, exclusive breaking news.